Welcome to short highlights of the 10th edition of the Mapei Cadel Evans Great Ocean Road Race. It had been a roasting hot couple of weeks as the Australian block of World Tour racing ploughed on, the Tour Down Under last week, and of course the Surf Coast Classic midweek had to be cancelled due to extreme heat. It was a lot cooler on the final day of the Australian block of racing for the Cadel Evans Great Ocean Road Race. A big clockwise sweep along the Surf Coast itself, along the south coast there, and then back in to complete 4 ascents of Chalambra Crescent, 4.5 laps in total of that finishing circuit in Geelong. The riders started in glorious sunshine, although it would be quite cloudy for most of the day and never more than about 20 degrees. It was the final day in a 20-year pro career for Simon Clark, the Aussie waving goodbye to the crowd and still playing his part in the race too. First attack came from a man who was freed up in the UAE Team Emirates colours. Vegard Stikelangen, the Norwegian, striking out early and taking with him in the end Oliver Peace, the British rider for Picnic Post-NL, and Julian Baudry, the Australian, a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old in the company of a very experienced 36-year-old. They built up a pretty healthy lead of just under 3 minutes, and they would make it onto Chalambra Crescent the first time. Oliver Peace taking the first of the King of the Mountains points as they went over the top, but it would not be long going into those laps around Geelong and Chalambra Crescent that they would be caught. 2 former winners in the race, Mauro Schmidt, the Swiss road race champion, one of them, and the other one, Laurence Pithy. So lots of eyes on those two, and Schmidt in very good form after the Santos Tour Down Under. Rob Stannard was doing work for Santiago Buitrago of Bahrain Victorious, and Buitrago was looking like one of the best climbers every time up Chalambra Crescent, and he was ready to show it too. All the while, the yellow jersey of Matthew Brennan was being watched very closely. He was climbing with the best of them, including Santi Buitrago, and looking comfortable following the wheels as well. Buitrago, though, lap by lap, noticing that he was a marked man. People could see how well he was doing. And Matthew Brennan's team were happy to take control of the race as well. Pietro Matteo, the young Italian, doing long turns at the front. Then came Ben O'Connor. Question is, who was he working for? Was it for himself, or was he looking to soften things up for Luke Plapp? Luke Plapp, his teammate, would play his part too, but not before we'd seen another Santi Buitrago attack. The Colombian for Bahrain Victorious, obviously with really good legs at the start of this season, and happy to test them out. Gradually what was happening is we were reducing the size of the leading group, and in amongst the regrouping of that group, we had an attack as well with 24k to go. Chris Harper and Anders Skorthus. Harper riding for the Australian national team, Anders Skorthus the Univex mobility rider. Puncture, I believe, or a mechanical, and a bike change for former winner Laurence Pithy, and he would get back in. It would be a bit of a chase. Callum Thornley helping to get him back in, but he was back in there with a lap to go. Visma Lease bike trying to bring these two back. They never had a massive lead, Harper and Skorthus, but they were working very well together. Long, hard turns being done by Chris Harper. Then this crash happened at the base, the run-in to the final ascent of Chalambra Crescent. It was kind of inevitable. It would happen anywhere. It happened there. It did upset the chase. It caused gaps in the group as well. And they were caught, Harper and Skorthus, on that final climb as well. Luke Plapp winding things up. All eyes on Matthew Brennan following the climbers. The likes of Filippo Zanna, Mauro Schmidt looking good as well in there, the defending champion from last year. And then, of course, that man again, Santiago Buitrago, attacking again. Interesting combination of riders following him. Luke Lamperti, the American for EF Education, Easy Post following that wheel. Matthew Brennan marking Lamperti. 2 fast men surrounded by climbers. Marco Brenner, one of them. Brenner, the former German champion, knowing he'd have to attack here if he was to play his part in this finale, but it was marked by Kevin Genietz of Groupama FDG United, who then knew he needed to start his lead out because he had a teammate left in there. There was Aaron Gate following behind Genietz, second last year. Luke Plapp was not done yet though, and he would attack going into that final kilometre. And by this stage, Matty Brennan was having to mark everything himself. Trouble is, that meant he then had to go very, very early. He had Gal Glivar, of all people, for Alpecin Premier Tech on his wheel, but coming up alongside them Tobias Lund Andersen. Lund Andersen timing it perfectly to get into the slipstream of Matti Brennan and take another World Tour win. Decathlon CMA CGM off to a flyer at the start of this year, and Tobias Lund Andersen at the age of 23 showing he's come on another level this winter. He won the Surf Coast Classic 1 year ago, but took his win in the Santos Tour Down Under last week, and he's back at it again now. There is a young sprinter in really good form and super confident too. And rightly so, his team backed him for it, and he took the win ahead of Matthew Brennan and Brady Gilmore, just pipping last year's winner Mauro Schmid for the win as well. That was the podium: Gilmore, Brennan and Andersen. And what a fantastic finale for the 10th edition.